And Matt, I'm going to begin with you. Uh,
Sure.
All of us that have played for Father Bauer, of course, we have an affinity for the national team and a understanding of what he was all about. But how did you get to writing a book about him?
Yeah, Wally, yeah, thanks for having me. I better hold up the book, just to make it official here. It's always nice when you've worked on it for years and years that you hold it in your hands. Um, I remember as a kid hearing about Father Bauer. I would have been, I think about, I don't know, a youngster, and I was always like, why is a priest coaching or working with the national team? And later on, as an academic, and I do some work in sport, uh, meeting other academics, and I'm like, I just don't see anything really written about Father Bauer. I thought it was an incredible story about this priest, but he was a great athlete, an incredible athlete who won a Memorial Cup as a player, but then to choose the priesthood, but then to coach, and then he started this national team, and it just sounded really interesting. And so once I delved into it, I was like, well, I'll probably write an article or two about it. But once I started uncovering it and understanding his role, even within Hockey Canada, his work in Hockey Canada through the 70s and 80s as well, I just thought this is such a great story. Kind of a thread in our history of the nation as well as hockey that sometimes I don't think it gets as much play as it should. And he was just and then I'm writing this during the pandemic, and there were some long days in the pandemic we all had, and I just some days you start, why am I doing this? And there was just like, this is an incredible story. This is Father Bauer's story is fantastic. It really needs to be told, whether it be the influence that he had with the national team, but also his work in Hockey Canada, his work as a priest. I just thought it was such a remarkable story. It really needed to be told. So I'm glad that it came out, and I'm glad to be the people that I interviewed were fantastic, very generous with their time, and so many folks in hockey have been so good about it.
Thanks a lot, Matt. I'm glad you wrote the book. Tom Rennie replied to me in an email. I don't know if he's going to join us today, but I bought him a copy and gave it to him as a gift.
Thanks, Wally.
Because his story of Father Bauer, he heard him speak at a banquet in Cranbrook, and that was life-changing for him in terms of pursuing a coaching career at someday, but more the perspective of the game mode sport all about, which aligned with his thinking. And
Yeah.
of course, talk about an impact, because he went on to be CEO of Hockey Canada, and I think it just speaks well to the man that you wrote the book about. Now, I can see Terry with his feet up and relaxing, and I had a couple questions for Terry. Terry, not everybody that listens to this would have a clue about who we are and who you are, but I think it's worth talking about your background because it connects to Father Bauer probably more than any of the players that ever played for him. And I'm just wondering, how did you get to meet Father Bauer, and how did you end up on the national team?
Uh, a lot of accidents along the way, as you can say. Hello, Steve. Just like your little accident at the hockey school led to you coming to the team and then playing in the WHL and so on. I was a student, and I grew up in North Toronto, and I had a friends there, Drapers. Chris Draper played in the NHL as the son of Mike Draper, and Mike and Bruce and Dave Draper all kind of went to the same grade school I went to. It was called St. Monica's, and they were good athletes. My mother wanted me to be a piano player, and So I took that for a few years, and then in grades 7 and 8, I went back to St. Monica's. I was more interested in sport than in the piano. So I met these guys, and they were all going to go to St. Mike's. And all my brothers went to the cross town Catholic school at the time. It was called De La Salle. And my brothers went there. So I said I wanted to go to St. Mike's. And my mother said, "You want to go to St. Mike's?" She said, "Go down and register." So I went down and registered. There was a big lineup, went all the way around the school. And I got two people from the front door. And this guy in a black satan came out. And he said, our registration's full and not taking any more people. So this guy I was with, Mike Lenhart, I still remember it clearly. He says, "We didn't line up here for 2 hours to get shut out." So we snuck around the back, climbed in a window, and went up to the front. And this big guy standing at the door with the black satan on, he says, "What are you two guys doing in here?" "Oh, we've been in here all along," we said. "We just wanted to pass we got lost. We want to give our registration in." So they took our registration and I got accepted to St. Michael's High School. Well, my first coach was Father Bauer. And as a Bantam player, only about 17, 18 players tried out for the team. And the Drapers tried out that I knew and grew up with. And I tried out, and he became my first coach. I only played 10 games the year before and about 10 games the year before that. So I hadn't played much hockey. And he was my coach. He joined the team later on, right about this time. The coach we did have, Father Conway, was made athletic director of the school. So he didn't have time to coach the Bantam team, and Father Bauer took it over. I still remember the day, Ted Riverina, he had this black fedora on. He looked like Toe Blake, standing at the back watching the team. And Ted Reeve was a famous newspaper writer, maybe you know. Ted Riverina used to have to jump down on the ice. And that's how we met him, when all the talk was around. And he took that team to the Bantam Championship. And then the next year, we won the Minor Midget Toronto Championship. And we had Jerry Cheevers on the team that year. And the Drapers and another guy we all grew up with, Paul Jackson. And then the next year, we played Junior B. We won the Junior B Championship. He didn't coach us that year. And then we went to St. Michael's. We're at St. Mike's. We played Junior A hockey that year as a 17-year-old. We played junior hockey. And we ended up over 3 years winning the Memorial Cup. And so that's how I got to know him. All this that we're talking about now, his vision and his vision for amateur hockey in particular, we didn't have any idea. We were just young kids trying to play hockey and make a team and have fun. And we had a lot of fun with him. He was a great coach, and that's how I met him. It was just by accident. I had to sneak into the school, and then he happened to be coaching the team that I coached, and he's been involved in my hockey junior, from Bantam right up to junior, to the University of British Columbia, which I went to, and then then the national team, and then overseas in Japan, and then he actually got me to go to Notre Dame College. So we've had a long association. That's how it all started.
Matt,
it's a long way around to tell you how it started, but that's how it started.